I'd had my Microsoft Surface 7 laptop for around a week, and this was the newest version with Snapdragon X Elite processor. And some of you might know that because I tested it a bit and shared some results with you in previous videos. I decided to return it though. Well, in fact, I already did. I did it yesterday. And if you own or you think about buying something on Snapdragon X Elite, you might wonder why I decided to do that. So let me tell you why I decided to return my laptop. First, I want to say what I liked about it, then what I disliked, and then I will tell you what was the reason that I will most probably never buy such product, not only in near but also in distant future. So I definitely liked the build quality of the laptop. It was rigid, it was metal case, it had a great keyboard, and I really liked the touchpad too. So from that perspective, I'd say Microsoft did a great job. I can't complain about that. The build quality was more than fine. Regarding the battery life, definitely much better than any Intel or AMD based solution, so I'd say it matched my expectations in this area as well. Can't complain about the battery life. Next big thing is the processor. And I had version with X1E80100 version of the CPU, very difficult to pronounce, and I had kinda mixed feeling about it. When I ran some tests on default Windows settings, the CPU performance for a single core was nearly exactly as my few years old M1 Pro laptop. And if you use best performance Windows mode, you will get closer to M2 Max Apple processor. But I think that's okay. For the first iteration of that CPU for laptop computers, I think it's not that bad really. It's not a bad result. The result is much worse though for the GPU, which in Geekbench it scored only half of the points of my M1 Pro laptop. And it scores roughly at the same level as MacBook Air with M2 processor. So this is from my perspective a bit disappointing. Many people even are asking, why does my mobile phone with Snapdragon chip performs better than my laptop also running on Snapdragon? And I think I understand this frustration. Then there is a compatibility of some programs issue, but that is kind of expected. For example, I couldn't run GTA 5 or Cinebench test for my very early laptop tests, but I believe Cinebench is now sorted, and maybe when you watch this video, maybe the GTA 5 will also run fine by that time. But this is something we saw already, when Apple launched first their M1 processor, and nobody can say that this is something unexpected. We knew there were some programs that will not run perfectly from the day one. None of these things, though, I mentioned, were the real reason why I returned my laptop. The main reason I returned it was that I was shocked what Microsoft Windows operating system does, and it's just getting worse and worse. I started taking some packet captures on this laptop with a program called Wireshark. I do it occasionally, but I think for Windows, the last packet capture I took was for Windows 7, and Windows always sends some telemetry and some other data to third parties and to itself, but at this stage I'd say with this Windows 11 for ARM, this is like a completely different level. So let me show you what your Windows 11 laptop sends out. So I first opened it, it's just powered up, and I'm checking for updates. So the laptop is up to date, so there is no point for it to grab for updates or anything. But have a look at that, how many connections there are. The most irritating thing is that I can't understand what most of those connections even are for. Most of them are completely unexplainable. Maybe somebody from Microsoft watches it, maybe they have some explanation for us, because I can't explain this. As you can see, Windows keeps sending some data out continuously. Even if you just power up your laptop and do nothing else. I have that continuous stream of data coming out of my laptop to various public IP addresses to various external organizations. And you might think that all other systems do the same. So let's compare this packet capture to the one taken on Ubuntu operating system. So let's start the Wireshark. And this is my interface, and that's it. Crickets. Let's do something so you can see that I'm listening on the correct interface. Let's do curl command that displays our public IP. Curl ifconfig me. We can see it completed the request. We can see a few packets going back and forth, but once that's completed, this task, that's it, it's quiet again. Let's open Firefox next to see what Wireshark will show. And this is the response I like. It's very predictable behavior. I know my operating system does only the tasks I ask it to do. No hidden connections, no dodgy traffic continuously running in the background. So from my point of view, there is no such thing as privacy when you use Microsoft Windows. And it's getting worse and worse with every newer version of this operating system. At the time when I took that capture for Windows, that Microsoft Surface didn't even have Microsoft Windows 11 recall function yet, because as you might remember, Microsoft initially temporarily removed it, as even for keen Windows enthusiasts, that was a step too far, and they were thinking what to do next about it. But what I want to say is I simply realized that I will never use anything with Windows installed as my daily driver. And don't get me wrong, I have a gaming laptop that is running on Windows, and I occasionally use it for Photoshop and some video editing, plus I have Windows installed on my Mac running in parallels as well. But they are both far from being my daily drivers. But at this point, I'm even thinking about getting rid of those two instances of Windows anyways, after my recent experience. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to say that you should return your shiny new Windows laptop too. All I wanted to say is that I don't like where it's going, that there is so much stuff going in the background that we don't understand, but at the same time, I don't think Windows will change that approach. So thank you for watching and I will see you next time.